Hello, welcome to How to Build a Combat Robot class again. And today we're going to be doing something a little more hands-on. So, a horizontal spinner is a pretty common one, and people don't really know where to start. So we're going to go ahead and show you where to start here on Fusion. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab a sketch, and my recommendation, grab yourself a circle, right? And we're gonna just throw it here for now. Okay? Click on it and press X. Now, what this circle is this is going to be whatever your weapon diameter is. So the weapon that I'm going to be using is 6 inches large, which is 152.4 millimeters. We're going to go ahead and measure this out at 152 millimeters. And that's a pretty big area. Now, the next thing you're going to want is grab another circle. Figure out about how big your motor is. I'm going to choose 40 millimeters. And my highest recommendation is when you're first starting, always lock your measurements. Okay? So we're going to call this 40. So if we ever need to come back and change this later on, we can. Right? Now you need to think about something that's very important. Where should my wheels be? Because you put your wheels in retrospect to these. If you're on the inside of this weapon disc, your wheels are smaller. You might run into some serious pushing power issue. If it's wider, you'll have more control of the robot, but you got more sticking out. So my recommendation normally is I'm going to go from here, the center. We're going to draw these two construction lines. Okay? You're going to click on your line. If they're in construction, you can click here to make it construction, or you can click on it and press X, turn it into a construction line. What this will do is give us 2 points on the outside of where our weapon is. At which point, we're going to draw another line straight down. I'm going to make it about, I don't know, 150. I'll probably change that later. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that measurement. I'm 150. 150 straight down. Okay? We're going to connect these two together. Now, this is where all of your guts of your robot are going. Okay? And roughly, you want your tire probably somewhere on this line. Slightly inside, slightly outside. But somewhere on this line so that it's relevant to the size of your weapon disc. In my particular case, I'm going to put it right in line with it. And I kind of want, so you got the back end of your, I'm going to go ahead and make another construction line. Straight down. And this is going to be just so that I can get the center point. I want, in here, a specific distance away from my weapon. I want it to be very safe. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to call this 3 millimeters. I'm going to build a 3 millimeter gap around my weapon. Right? We're going to grab another circle. Go to our 3 millimeter gap. Now there is an alternative way to do this. You can Control Z, Control Z. Get rid of that little line. Come up here. And use the offset tool. And again, you can make it 3. Alright. And that is going to give me a rough safety area. We're going to cut away all this excess around the outside. Because we don't need anything. A little bit of top here. A little bit of top here. Now you roughly know where everything is located. Alright. Now, you're going to get your tires. And you're not quite sure where your tires are going to be, so I'm going to roughly put it here, 20 by 40. Yeah, that seems good. 20 by 40. That seems good. And now you're getting a good area. So we're going to go ahead and put an exact distance on this. We're going to measure out our tires. We're going to say they're going to be, I don't know, 10 millimeter wide tire is a pretty good tire. 20, that's pretty big. We're probably going to change this in the future. Alright? And then this is going to become the height of our tire. So 40 millimeters. That's a really, really big tire. What if we just go with 30? That's more realistic. Now, we can get rid of this up here, because we can do a little trick here. We have this center line. We're going to go ahead and grab this fix, unfix. We're going to lock that center line. Then we can grab our symmetry tool and say, you know what? I want to make sure that these tires are both always the same distance apart from the center. And then the outside is always the same distance apart from the center. So now this tire will always be in relation to that one. And we can take this collinear line, which is the little arrow line, the red line. Take this top bar, line it up with that. This one, line it up with that. And now they will always be in line. This will always be the same size. If you're unsure, go ahead and grab your measure tool. It's going to create a driven. So it's 20, it's the same. And on the outside, it's going to create a driven. 30, the same. And this way, you can keep everything kind of symmetrical. Right? Now we're starting to get a shape here. And this is going to become the outside of your robot. So, what we're going to do is we're going to give it a basic shell. We're going to click on this, and we'll say 3 millimeters. Okay, this is going to be the basic shell. But this seems a little long, so we're going to go 150. We're going to bring this down to 120. And does that still seem big? Yeah, kind of does. But, now you'll notice that our wheels are in a strange place. So, what can we do to help keep these wheels in place? Well, we locked this line to keep us forward. Well, what if we always guarantee a distance from our weapon to our wheel? So we're going to say, I want my wheel to always be, say, 70, we'll say 80 millimeters from our weapon. Alright, so now when we change to, let's say, what do we say, like 120 sounds good? Yeah, that's starting to look more and more. Yeah, if you want to hear this even more, we had these two lines up here. We can always lock them in place. And now you have your weapon disc permanently locked. That's where it will always be. Now if you make the change, the bottom will come up. Yeah, it's starting to look pretty good. I could live with that. But because we're going to have such a big weapon disc, we're probably going to want to be careful on weight. So we're going to back off. And we're going to make a small change here. Okay? We're going to come all the way to here. We're going to lock these two in place. You guys will always be 80 millimeters down. Okay? And these sharp edges, well, they can get hung up on things. So we're going to go ahead and fillet these. And I'm going to go with 3... What about 10? 10 is looking pretty decent. Okay, yeah, you know what? 10, we could go with 10. We could come back and change this later. Go with a radius of 10. Alright? So now, when we pull this wall in, it'll be slightly different. Now on the back side, what could we do here? Well, we could take and create a circle. And we're going to make it 3-point tangent. We're going to make it from this wall, this wall, this wall. Now, that doesn't seem like that would work all that well, so maybe we don't need a complete circle. What if we take this wall, and we just start moving it in? Don't want two. Nope, still doesn't look good to me. Well, how would I add a curve to this? You know what I could always do is take from this big circle here. Yeah, you get this nice curve, kind of matching the radius. There we go. That'll give us a nice back end. All right. Then we're gonna cut away the outside. Very simple, very easy. So that gives us a nice back end to play with. That's our distance. We're gonna change you to be. We're gonna get rid of this. We're gonna change you. Go with that. Now we're gonna put down our measurement. It should. Look, it came out to about 140. My initial guess was fantastic. All right, and we're gonna turn this X, press it into a construction line. We're starting to get somewhere. So this gives us room for some motors, and we're gonna go ahead and create our first set of armor. We're gonna go ahead and bring this in, say 3 millimeters. So now we have our first initial sets, and right here and here we have two fantastic places for some standoffs. Let's grab some standoffs. I like to use polygons. I can't remember which one it is. I think it's this one, 2.5, 7. Let me measure my standoffs. I have a standoff right here that's sitting in front of me. It's a very specific standoff. And it's 20 millimeters in height. And from point to point, it's roughly 6.3. Which would be 2.6. So 2.7 is probably a good number for this particular. Alright. And we're going to go ahead and create another one. Now, you want to make sure that you get that pretty close, because you want your standoff to be able to fit into this groove, but you also don't want your standoff to fall out of that. And then, we're going to go ahead and grab a circle, come out to here. So, that's going to be the area that's filled in. That's going to be a pretty heavy piece of TPU. And another good place to put one is all the way in the back here. We're going to create another polygon. I'm not really sure how far up to put him. We need one over here too. So let's start with over here. We're going to go with our 2.7. Now, that seems like a decent place, but our wheel is going to be right. So, maybe we'll end up making our wheel only 10 millimeters instead of a full 20. But we're just going to leave it there for giggly sake. Maybe we build the tire half in the robot. I don't know. We'll find out. But this one, because the wheel is here, we're not going to have a lot of room. So that's probably a bad place. Where can I get? So we have this far. What if we just come in? We'll say 18 meters. Sometimes you just gotta guess. Sometimes you just don't know. Turn that into a construction line so it doesn't get in the way, because you'll see, like, the reason why you use the construction line. Let's say if I have a line here, right? Right down the middle. See, now it splits our thing into two. We turn that into a construction line. Well, now it's used just for measuring, and it doesn't fit our selection problem. So, that is why you use construction. Then you don't have to pick on multiple. So now let's grab that polygon again. What did we say? 2.7? 2.7. This might be a decent place for it. Now, it might be really far off of here. So we're going to grab another line. Bring it here. Turn that into a construction line. Alright, and what we're going to do is going to we're going to measure this guy. 12. 12 seems like it's really far away. So what if we did 8? Oh! Something hath gone wrong. Ah, we hadn't locked in our distance from left to right. Okay. We'll take our outside most edges. 152.4. Lock it in place. Alright, so now you see the black locked in. So we're going to take this. And let's take 10. Well, what is strangely going on here? Well, how about this? We take our outside of our armor. We lock it in place. It will go nowhere from now on. Alright. We also have this. We're going to delete this little T intersection. Alright, so now let's do, say, 8. Alright, that's looking better. 18 would be 15. Maybe 10. So now we got this strange angle that we have over here. And so it'll be really hard to duplicate it on the other side. But you know what? I kind of like this. Maybe we make this even smaller. Maybe make it 10 by 10. Going from that corner to here. Maybe 10 by 8. Maybe 10 by 9. And try to get it to the other... Oh, yeah, 10 by 9 comes out really nicely. So we're going to scoot this in. And what we're going to do, we're going to create a mirror. Select our object here, our different sides. Alright, we're going to take our reference line. We're going to mirror them too. And we're going to select, remember this line we locked in the middle? Boom! So now it'll be over here. And it's perfectly mirrored of the other side. Now, there's all these little things in the way, but when you finish the scan, it all disappears. You can see it just fine. So this is probably where we're going to want to add a little bit more armoire. Alright, because we need something to hold this in. We don't want to go too wide because we don't want to interfere with the tire. So we're just going to go just enough so we're touching the wall. Just enough till we're touching the wall. Very good. And what I like to do from here is get a ballpark angle going on. Just bring it right down to this. Bring it right. Very good. Because that'll give us everything nice and lined up. I'm going to turn this line into a design line, this line into a design line. We're going to get rid of this bottom half of circle. I don't know where that line went, but it's there. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Or, better yet, instead of doing it here, over here. And instead of mirroring it all the way over, we've gotten rid of it. We're going to leave the mirror here. Okay? And we're going to start drawing our whole design on this. Go ahead and close out that circle tool. That seems a little off, but you know what? It says it's aligned, but that's cool. This corner could use a little strength too. So what if we came off the top, bonk, create a construction line, X, and we're going to come all the way, and we're going to make this just a big chunk. Right there at a right angle. Right. Then, off, freeze, turn that to a construction line. We're going to take you, and we're just going to bring you straight back. Now, you don't need to do this, but it definitely make a difference in the... Get rid of all this extra circle. Now you'll see we have this great big selection area. Okay, and then we're going to create our mirror. Go ahead and select all of our lines. We're going to mirror this whole thing. I'm going to take my construction lines as well. We're going to mirror it over to the other. Now it's over here. So now we get a place to put 1, 2, 3, 4 little risers. Oh. So now we're starting to get a good grasp on what's going on. We like our tire placement. It's going to be a little close, but you know what? I like our tire placement. Maybe 20 millimeters might be too wide, but we'll see. We'll see. See as it comes together. Now, if we finish our sketch, you'll see we have a rough how things are doing. You want to try to do as much in one sketch as possible in the beginning, because over time it's going to start developing like a mind of its own. And when it does that, you're going to start running into going backwards and forwards, and your profile's going to get bigger. So depending on how strong your computer is, you may and or may not start running into like performance issues. So now let's quickly come up with how do we want to attach this. So this is going to be a 1 pound antweight, obviously, and that weapon just looks absolutely massive for the amount of space that we have. So we're probably going to end up building some cradles with some zip ties for motors, cradle, zip tie. We're just going to wedge the electronics right in here. We could put a drone motor right here and run a belt, but I'm going to use a hub motor. Just going to hub motor it out here. And don't worry, for those of you who are like, I don't want to know how to design a belt. So I promise you, on our very next one, we will design a belt. And once you've learned how to design a belt on one, you can pretty much design it on anything. But this is going to be the rough, basic layout. And now I think I'm going to think. So this is going to be our base plate, probably. Be roughly under here. And we want our base plate not to include the little pieces of side armor if we there is a reason for that. I will show you. So we're gonna go ahead, select this. Do I want my wheel to have a cutout partially inside the rope? It's only gonna be 20 millimeters, so you know what? For now, we're going to leave the cutout. Alright, we're going to extrude our base layer. We want our base layer to be nice and thick, so we're going to go 1, not -5. We're going to go -3. -3 is a really good distance for a base layer. Okay? Now, you'll notice we have these in here, and those are not what we want, right? Because we're going to need a place to put the screws in. So I like to use about 3.5 mil circles for my screws, because that's roughly that's a good M3 size. Fits nicely. It's fit right in the middle. 3.5. Right? Because we're going to want this in the body, but we're not going to want it in base plates. We're going to finish up our sketch. Our sketch visual again, and we're just going to go ahead and grab these. Yeah, sometimes I forget stuff. It happens. If there's anything you're ever going to learn about designing stuff, is you will forever be forgetting shit. Forever. So we're going to go ahead and do this. -3. Alright, now that's a good base plate. We're going to go ahead and make the top cover. Select all of that. Circle. Okay. Right. And this is a good place to start. Right, as of right here, you've got most of your engineering Right, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to extrude upwards 2 millimeters this time. A new body. Right, so now we've got the bottom top plates touching each other. Go ahead and rename these. Bot plate, top plate. And rename top plate. And we're going to take this one and we're going to move it. Now the standoffs that I'm using are 20 millimeters space. So we're going to go ahead and move this 20 millimeters. Right? And this is roughly how big our robot's going to be. Like, as you can tell, got a couple motor mounts in there, a couple walls printed off. You're good to go at that point. Like, that's most of your bot completed. All right, let's go back into this opening sketch. Well, we do want this armor, but we do want a hole in the armor here to here for our wheel. So we're gonna start by doing just our rear armor here. Here to there. Bonk. All right. Now, what we're gonna do? We're gonna do this, but we're gonna take this. Not a chain, please. Grab just these 3 sections. Offset. We're gonna offset that by 0.15, which is a really teeny tiny amount. Okay. We're gonna get rid of it everywhere above where we need it. Don't need it up here. Right, we're going to go to the other side, do the same. Find where we need it, where we want it. Now, the reason why I did that is because we're going to have that plate on the bottom, right? And so, when we finish, we're going to want that plate to be slightly overhanged. So this is going to be 3 millimeters. Right? And that's where our armor is going to be. We're going to go ahead and bring this up. Punk, punk. 20, and 2. Yeah! That's really, really good. Make this top plate invisible again. So now we're going to connect the two. Everything else. Remember, we're going to leave that in this time. That little gap has been selected. Punk. Leave that in this time. We're going to make the bottom plate invisible. Right, and then we're going to extrude this up 20 millimeters. Alright, and you'll have to do some jiggery-pokery with your printer to print that off, but go to do this. Now it'll fit in there nice and snugly. Gonna have a big wraparound. Couple standoffs holding in place. Maybe you want to put one in the middle. And pretty much all that's left is we're going to take this. We're going to right click, physical material, carbon fiber, carbon fiber, carbon fiber, CRFP, carbon fiber. Go ahead and drag and drop that up here. It just made everything carbon fiber. Alright, and then thermo plastic resin. Now this is your stand-in placeholder for TPU. Okay. Make that TPU. Alright. You know, theoretically, you just put a little tiny piece of armor here. A little teeny tiny. Be a 1 millimeter wall or something in there. 2 millimeters, whatever. PLA. Just something as a spacer between the weapon and your little piece of here. And a little motor mount right on the inside. And you effectively have the body of your vertical spinner. Now, we're coming up on closing time, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I love you. I'll see you in episode 2, and we're going to finish making you a horse. Till next time, I'm Pod. Bye.